am EagleNick. Now I'm doing this live stream to let everyone know that EagleNick received the second consent form that he had sent to his primary address today, because after I did my live stream yesterday and it had got 56.7 thousand views in less than 24 hours, 46 to 48,000 views while I was live streaming. Hello, name in Paris. Now, the postmaster in downtown Dalton, Georgia, Miss Constance Long, after that live stream I did yesterday, and she realized what that piece of mail was that I got from the United States Senate, Postmaster Constance Long made sure that she sent that second consent form out to my primary address. Now, like I said, I had already went to the Office Depot and I faxed the first consent form I got with the secondary address, because I knew before I had been told that I would have to give them a wet signature for them to begin investigating the United States Post Office in Dalton, Georgia, Miss Constance Long, that I told them that I needed them to send it to my primary address and a secondary address so that we would have evidence that they are stopping my mail, holding up my mail, tampering with my mail, stealing EagleNick Audit's mail. Now, after EagleNick Audits had did his live stream yesterday and got 57.6 thousand views, Postmaster Constance Long finally saw the light and made sure that she sent Mr. EagleNick his other consent form. You see the signature across the top of Mr. State Senator John Ossoff in the United States Senate for the state of Georgia. You see his signature across the bottom of the first letter that was in the first consent form that I had to have sent to a secondary. Hello, in qualified immunity. I really believe what you say there, because it really does need to be ended for all public servants, not just for police officers. And name in Paris, I hope you are a female, because EagleNick loves the ladies. My wife is deceased since 2019. And if you would like to send EagleNick a picture and maybe a letter or a postcard, you can write to EagleNick Audits at 1704 Lawson Avenue, Dalton, Georgia, 30720. And here is my address. But it'd be best if you send it to this address, because they will steal my mail if you send it to my main address. Now, you see this letter, I had to send it to my other property because Postmaster Constance Long wants to steal EagleNick's mail. This is my primary address, and after my live stream got 57.6 thousand views yesterday, Postmaster Constance Long decided to send out this other consent form because she seen that it did not do her any good to hold up EagleNick's mail, because EagleNick was smart enough to know to have them to send it to two different addresses because my main address at 1704 Lawson Avenue, the postmaster is stealing my mail, robbing me of my services and my rights and privileges to receive mail through the United States Post Office. The United States Postal Service is crooked and has been crooked for a long time. Now, Postmaster Constance Long is learning the hard way that EagleNick meant what he said when EagleNick said that he does not sit, he does not beg, he does not roll over, and he does not play dead. EagleNick told Postmaster Constance Long in the video that Postmaster Constance Long had EagleNick arrested for recording at the United States Post Office in downtown Dalton, Georgia. My fifth First Amendment audit of the United States Post Office, that I told her that I would EagleNick. EagleNick does not lie. EagleNick does not spread misinformation or falsehoods. EagleNick is a man of his word. Yes, sir, it was definitely a First Amendment violation, a Fourth Amendment violation. It was a violation of my Eighth Amendment, and it was also a violation of my 14th Amendment, which guarantees me equal protections as everyone else has. No, sir, EagleNick is not funny, whatever it says. I really can't read it all. No, I do not identify as an eagle. I am an eagle. I am EagleNick Audits. When I was a kid, a little kid, my father always kept my hair cut real short, like a military style. And because my head was always shaved with just a little bit of hair sticking up, all my brothers and sisters and my nephews and cousins called me Eagle because they were under the misconception that an eagle was bald. And I had a lady that called me Nick all the time. So I combined the two when I started using EagleNick Audits on my YouTube channel. If you will look at my YouTube channel, you will see that EagleNick has been on YouTube since 2012. But EagleNick did not ever do any videos on YouTube. I only started doing videos on YouTube when I witnessed a Dalton Police Department violating a homeless girl's First Amendment rights, which is freedom of free speech, for panhandling, and violated her Fourth Amendment rights by telling her, because she did not have a picture identification, that if she did not provide her name and date of birth, that she would have to arrest her for panhandling, which is a First Amendment protected activity under free speech, which the United States Constitution grants to everyone. Now, the United States Supreme Court has many rulings on free speech, on all 5 tenets of the First Amendment, on all the Constitution, Fourth Amendment rights, Fifth Amendment rights, not to say anything to incriminate yourself. Yeah, they try to get the guy in Florida all the time saying he's panhandling because he will have a sign that says, he wants change, but he means he wants people to change the way they think. I have to get my cat out away from the road. This is my cat, Blackie. Y'all never seen him. He is the one I call my April Fool's Day cat because he came up on April Fool's Day about 2 years ago, just a little kitten. He came from over in the next yard. It was real growed up, and they got a bunch of dogs, and I kept him over here to keep him from getting killed. Yeah, Jeff Gray. He is the one that he gets harassed because he will be holding a sign asking for change, but not asking for money, you know, to try to change people's thoughts and their awareness about the United States Constitution, and to show people how our government officials react. Now, I want you to stop and think about something. They treat Mr. Gray that way because the people that sees him thinks that he is homeless. Now, even homeless people have rights. You know, they are the poorest of the poor. They do not even have a place to lay their head inside, out of the weather, out of the heat, the cold, the rain, the sleet, the snow. Some of them just sleep out in the open. Some of them sleep in tents. If you will look back on my YouTube channel, you will see where I did a live stream from what we've always called the hobo jungle that is located next to the railroad tracks, where there were only 2 people staying out there now. My homeless friend Marty, I have a video that I think it is one of the first ones other than the Dalton Police Department harassing and violating Miss Pink's constitutional rights. She calls herself the homeless artist. She went and bought her some art supply so that Miss Pink, the homeless artist, could do some artwork for her. Now, this is called official misconduct because she received something while she is in the performance of her duty, while she was harassing a homeless person and violating their rights. Here's 2 of my little kittens. That is 2 of Tigger, Tigger. That is 2 of her kittens. But I started doing my audits because I witnessed the Dalton Police Department violating Miss Pink's constitutional rights. Here's a couple of more of the kittens. Here. Here is the mother cat, Sheba. Now, those are her 2 kittens right here. You see they're a lot bigger. The other 2 was Tigger's kittens. I don't know where she's at right now. Here's another one of Tigger's kittens. And she also has another little gray one here somewhere. There it is. You see it? Tigger had 4 kittens, but she moved this one separate from the other ones, and she had stopped feeding it. But luckily, EagleNick had been buying canned cat food, and it's been eating. It's finally started eating this dry food. Excuse me, I didn't mean to cough while I was recording. I'm not smoking or anything. But now, I did the video about my homeless friend Marty to make people aware of the situation that the homeless people face, not just in Dalton, Georgia, but all over the world. Now, I did that video in early February, probably before or around the same time that I did my first audit at the United States Post Office, and since way before the pandemic. Can I say Nick her or Nick here? I sure do. Thank you, sir. I do not think that EagleNick is a goat. I hope that means greatest of all time, but EagleNick does not think of himself better than anybody else. EagleNick just sat on that bucket and got a wet ass. I ain't going to show that on here, so for anybody else, I won't do it. You know, when I was doing a live stream, showing my live stream from in the Whitfield County Courthouse, while I was doing my live stream at the Whitfield County Courthouse, I started to go in Sheriff Scott Chitwood's office. They cut off EagleNick's internet and caused an error in that live stream to where that video would not upload to where I could download it and save it back to my phone. It does not seem like I'm going to get any watch hours off of that video because it did not upload to where it was in video form for people to see, other than me putting a link in other videos. This is different types of grass, and I'm at the Eagle's Nest. If you seen the video about the road cops that was threatening to shoot the Hispanic male that was out of gas, I came down out of my driveway, and the car was right down there out of gas. There was 2 police cars parked right here and one down on the corner by the trailer where I was arrested. The police officer was telling the Hispanic male, "Put both your hands out the window or I'm going to pull my gun." All because the man was out of gas. Now, I was calling them out and telling them, that they were out of their jurisdiction because it was the City of Dalton Police Department on a county road. My road is a county, and the City of Dalton police officers do not have arrest powers unless they have been deputized by the Whitfield County Sheriff's Office or the Georgia State Patrol. Now, if you have seen my arrest video from April the 18th, you will hear Lieutenant M. Locke with the Dalton Police Department say a couple of different times about, how you said that the Dalton Police Department officers wasn't deputized? Well, I'm deputized. And he said that he had seen all of my videos. In other words, just by his statements alone, he was confirming the fact of what I said. I was recording him when he snatched my phone out of my hand, and I told him that my arrest was a retaliatory arrest because of my live stream at the Dalton Police Service Center, because I had did a 20-plus minute live stream from the Dalton Police Service Center prior to going and recording a 2-minute and 47-second long video at the United States Post Office in downtown Dalton. And for anybody that's just got here, I was telling everyone that this first one you see with the signature, I had to have 2 consent forms sent to 2 different addresses. And I received this first one here that I had my finger on yesterday at a secondary address. My primary address, where my Cash App card is coming to, that has been shipped for 70-plus days, that Postmaster Constance Long in the United States Post Office in downtown Dalton, Georgia, has stolen and not had delivered to EagleNick audits after my live stream I did yesterday that showed this, that I had faxed it back to my state senator, Mr. John Ossoff. Well, today in the mail, you will see that I received the other consent form at my primary address, because when she saw what it was, she realized what a mistake she had made by holding up that piece of mail. And like I said, this is my address. If you would like to send EagleNick audits a postcard or write him a short note, be careful about what you say, because you could be prosecuted if you try to give any death threats against me or against anybody at the post office or any of the Dalton Police Department. EagleNick does not try to influence that. EagleNick does not try to control what the people that he says are done. King. EagleNick's last name is Nicholson, not Stephen King. And none of them manipulate. For some reason, my internet keeps cutting on and off. Maybe they have got Spectrum to cut my internet off to try to stop my live stream. Master Constance Long realized what kind of mistake he had made by holding up that consent form from my United States Senator. No, EagleNick's nest is not in Germany. It's in the United States, in Dalton, Georgia, 30720. This is where EagleNick's nest is at. Now, EagleNick, all he ever asks of any public servant when EagleNick is exercising his rights is to treat me with the same respect that I give them. I never say nothing to them until they speak to me first. Once they engage me, I will say, "How are you doing today, sir?" Now, that's exactly what I said to Officer Bethune the first time I ran into him. There's Tigger. That is the mother of the 4 little kittens, 2 grays, 2 grays and 2 orange. But Lieutenant Locke bragged about he had seen all of my videos. And after he had cut off my recording when he came over to the police car that the other officer had placed me in the back of, he had stated it even more about, you know how you was talking about that we're not deputized? Well, I'm deputized. You know, just trying to intimidate and harass EagleNick. But hell, you can't harass me no more than arresting me illegally for illegally getting a warrant against EagleNick when EagleNick had not committed a crime for them to obtain my name. They obtained my name by my open records request and by my YouTube channel. And I want to show you something. My daddy, he died in 1979. My daddy built this little patio right here in front of the house. He was just going to build the block part and going to make it a bake store. But my mama told him, no, you're going to build me a house. And then my daddy built this wall right here. This was where he kept spring lizards. But he built this wall here, and he would only get 1 rock at a time over on John's Mountain out of the creek when he was catching spring lizards. But he would only get one that he wanted to go in a certain place on the wall. Now, he died in 1979, and didn't get to finish it. You can't see it down here, but this patio part here, it's down here too, and he was going to build it all the way out through here, and maybe the whole yard if he had lived. But he built this himself. I wish I had learned something like this. You can see where the years since 1979 has caused it to start cracking, because this little pomosa tree has grown down into the wall, and it is causing the rock to crack. But my daddy was a master stonemason. He was a master builder. He helped build many of the big shot houses over there around the neighborhood. But for the last most years of his life, he delivered the Chattanooga Times Free Press newspaper. Now, my daddy had many hundreds of loyal customers, and they always called him Soup Bone, because my daddy was in the military and he was a cook. And that name stuck to him from the military, and they called him Soup Bone. But EagleNick is very proud of his father. I'm very proud of my mother. EagleNick does not do stuff that would dishonor my mother or my father, even though they are both deceased. My mother passed away in 2021. My father passed away in 1979. And I want to tell you a little history about EagleNick. Now, EagleNick's wife, her mother, I was born on her 7th birthday. I was born on April 29th, 1967. She was born on April 29th, 1960. But me and my wife did not get married until 2007. Now, her mother, she died the same day that my father passed away, 20 years to the day. In 1999, 8 years later, me and my wife got married. Then her father passed away in 2008 on May the 2nd. And then my mother passed away on May the 2nd of 2021. Now that is a little spooky and ironic. You want to look inside of it? This is a safari van, not an Astro. This belonged to my brother Randall, who passed away in 2013. It's been sitting here for a long time. I used to drive it, but I drove it until the motor locked up on me. But now Tigger, she had her kittens. After she had them, she come up through there where the motor is, because the doghouse is off of it. And she kept her kittens in there for a very long time, to keep them out of the weather. And then she would take them into this old camper that's sitting over here by where my cans are. There's a hole up in under the floor that she would get in, and she would keep them in that camper. Now, my brother Larry that passed away in 2022, this was his trailer. You barely can see over here where it's growed up. It don't have power or water hooked up to it no more. But EagleNick is just like John Conley said, I'm just a common man. I drive a common van. My dog ain't got a pedigree. And if I have my way, I'm going to stay that way. Because high-class people lose their sanity. We are at the Eagle's Nest. EagleNick Audits. EagleNick Audits. This is the Eagle's Nest. EagleNick does not have a vehicle. These vehicles do not run. They belong to my brother. He has to have them fixed. But all I have is a bicycle because I sold my car to my brother in 2018 because EagleNick was sick and tired of paying those outrageous insurance premiums when I had not had any tickets of any kind in over 10 years. And the insurance premium just kept going up and up till EagleNick got fed up and said, I'm not taking this shit no more. And I sold my vehicle to my brother, a 2011 and a half Kia Optima LX. It was a beautiful car, well maintained. It was a company car that I bought from the secretary that I worked with, Warehouse 1 in Dalton, Georgia, Mr. Drennan Crutchfield Jr. I bought it from his secretary. It was her company car. It was in immaculate condition, got real good gas mileage, but the last place I drove it before I sold it, I took one final trip up to Murphy, North Carolina to the Harris Cherokee River Valley Casino, and I lost about $50. I was hoping that I would get rich, but EagleNick never got rich. But EagleNick has never tried to get rich. EagleNick just tries to get by, to live from day to day. Well, EagleNick doesn't do nothing for a living. EagleNick only tries to get by, and I pick up aluminum cans on my bicycle. Now, the weather has turned to where I can't get out and pick them up as much because since I've got older, I'm susceptible to have a heat stroke. These are the cans I picked up in the past couple of months, but I really have not picked up that many. Yes, sir, I do pay property tax. My family pays the property tax. My whole family owns this property. These are the cans I picked up the past few days. Yes, sir, we do have to pay property taxes. EagleNick could file for the homestead exemption, but EagleNick has not filed for that. EagleNick could get food stamps, but EagleNick has not filed for food stamps. EagleNick does not get a welfare check or any kind of government assistance because EagleNick does not want to be dependent on the government. I depend on my creator who created all things, you know, because if you live off the government, when they cut it off, you're going to do whatever they say to keep that help. I would rather do without and not have nothing as I do than to be dependent on a crooked and corrupt government. You know, the state of Georgia is crooked and corrupt in so many ways. Food stamps, SNAP benefits is a federal program that the federal government gives to every state, and then the state lets their counties disperse said benefits. Now, Georgia has a work requirement for you to get food stamps, and someone like EagleNick, who does not have a verifiable income, does not get a set income that it is verified to where he gets a 1099 or files taxes, that you cannot get any kind of assistance. Not that, like I said, I've not tried to get food stamps, but it is a violation of Georgia citizens' constitutional rights to deny them SNAP benefits because they do not meet the work requirements, when not all states has a work requirement to receive said benefits. The United States Constitution says that if several states pass laws that grant their citizens certain rights and privileges, that every citizen of the United States is entitled to those same rights and privileges. But see, people don't realize that and will not fight for what they are supposed to receive. Now, our federal government does not care to hand out our tax money freely to illegal immigrants who flood across our country every day. Now, the Department of Family Children Services in Dalton, Georgia, before the pandemic, you could go up there and they would be 100 different Hispanics up there. And I did not say Mexicans, I said Hispanics from Mexico, Guatemala, San Salvador, El Salvador, Puerto Rico, even though Puerto Rico is a part of the United States, so they should have those rights, as all American citizens do. But you could go up there and the parking lot would be full of brand new cars, all kind of beautiful different luxury vehicles, from BMWs to Lexus to big fancy SUVs of all different sorts, Cadillac Eldorados, all different sorts of luxury vehicles, and yet they was receiving food stamps. No, that cat is not dead. It was about to be if it don't stay out of the road. It keeps trying to run down the road. That's why I try to don't go down by the road. It will end up getting killed. If you've been watching, you see how cars fly up and down this road. Now, the police officer that arrested me was driving a black Explorer just like that, which was unmarked. Yet when I said something about it being unmarked, he said, "Oh, it's got a government tag." Said, "It's got blue lights on it." Said, "Go over and look at it." You know, if you seen the video, it was parked across the road. He was trying to trick EagleNick into leaving his property and walking over on the private property at that building across the street, because I had done recorded exercising my First Amendment right, recorded rogue cops where they was harassing a Hispanic man that had ran out of gas the first time, and then they had pulled over a poor lady out on the corner and took her to jail before I had came down the trail and had seen them down there and started recording. You know, they were out of their jurisdiction. You can watch that video and you can hear me ask them if they are deputized. Yeah, they probably blowed the horn as it come by. But I asked them officers if they were deputized. And then I said, "I know you can hear me." And one of them stopped and raised up his hand like he was going to say something, but he thought better of it, then finally just walked off. Well, I got cat crap fighting down there, you little brats. That little orange cat gets real mean with that other little gray, and see what I mean? This bigger orange cat, it come back up here when I come up here. If I go down in the front yard, it'll get down there in the road about like it's going to get run over. And once again, for everybody that's came here late, I finally received my second consent form to my primary address because of my live stream I did yesterday that got 57.6 thousand views I sure do appreciate everybody who was watching that live stream. I really appreciate the over 100 new subscribers I received while I was doing that live stream. But Postmaster Constance Long chose to hold up the consent form. She was not going to deliver it. That was supposed to come to my primary address where my Cash App card was shipped to over 70 days ago, and I have yet to receive, which is why I have my state senator, Mr. John Ossoff, investigating the United States Post Office. No, sir, I am a hillbilly, but I am not inbred. My mother and father were not brother and sister, but my mother and her sister married brothers. They did not marry within the family like you bunch of bootlicking trolls want to keep saying. That is why EagleNick Audits has cousins that most people has never heard of, which is a double first cousin, because their mother is my aunt and their father was my uncle. Their daddy was my daddy's brother, and their mama was my mama's sister. EagleNick is a hillbilly. EagleNick is a redneck, but EagleNick is not inbred. Now, EagleNick likes loaf bread. And look, you can see I put some of these donut holes out here for my squirrels because EagleNick feeds the squirrels too. Because as I was saying, EagleNick does not want to do anything to dishonor his mother or father, even though they are dead. Because one of the commandments says to make sure not to dishonor your mother and father, and that don't say just while they're alive. If you're doing something to dishonor your mother or father, and even though they are deceased, you are still breaking that commandment. And the Bible says that if you have broke one commandment, you have broke them all. But I thank God for salvation through Jesus Christ, because EagleNick is not saying that he is not a sinner and that he has not ever sinned, or that I do not sin. When EagleNick gets real mad and cusses at them police officers because they treat EagleNick the way they do, that is not a righteous anger, and it is directed because of how they treat EagleNick. But EagleNick every night and every morning prays and asks the Creator to forgive me for all my sins. I thank him for his love, his mercy, and his grace, and most of all for salvation through Jesus Christ. And I asked him to protect me from all manner of harm and foul. And I also asked him to continue to bless and protect all of his creation, and that is mankind. I do not know you personally, and I do not have to know your name to pray for you and for the Creator to look over and protect you, because I don't know you, but you can be sure that the Creator of all things does know you personally. Whether you believe in his existence, whether you cuss and say there ain't no God, no matter what your thoughts and opinions may be, that is called free will, which God gave to us all. That is your free will to not believe in God. But I can guarantee you this, that you will hear Jesus saying to you when you stand before him on judgment, depart from me, for I know you not. And I will tell you the most fearful words in the Holy Bible is found in the book of Revelation, written in the Lamb's book of life. From the foundation of the world were cast into outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Now, hell is not eternal. The Bible says in the book of Revelation, and death and hell were cast into the lake of fire, which burneth forever. So you see, hell is not the lake of fire. It is a place that the lost go to await judgment. I really appreciate everybody that has been on here watching, and I really appreciate my moderators. It won't be too much longer now when my watch hours catch up with me that I will be able to start memberships and get super chats. And I hope it won't take much longer from that I will get the watch ads and the short feed ads. And when I do, I would really appreciate it if when you are watching my videos or my shorts and there's ads come on, that you would let them play. I mean, you can mute it. You don't have to listen to it. But a channel that gets monetized with the ads, the more the ads is watched, YouTube pays people, because EagleNick has never asked any of his subscribers for a penny. I had a fella tell me when I was doing a live stream down there that Al Rollins, that he would cash out me $20 if I would roll into grace. And I did it, but he didn't cash out me. You see, I keep my cat's water changed because it gets hot and it gets dirty from stuff falling off the trees. But you see, EagleNick has power. He's not an inbred hillbilly. Look, you see that beautiful woven blanket that's crocheted or whatever you would call it. I found that in the garbage somebody threw it away at the car wash one time when I was picking up cans on my bicycle. I took it, washed it, and I hung it up as a curtain. EagleNick, when he finds stuff, when he's out picking up cans, I find all kind of stuff. You'd be amazed. But even if I couldn't use it, I would always keep it and try to find somebody that could use it. Because wasting is wasting. I don't believe you should waste anything when there's other people that could use it and enjoy it. Sir, believing in the Creator is not religion. Believing that God created everything is fact. I didn't say I was religious. I said that I believe that there is a Creator who created all things, and EagleNick believes and knows that that blue you see up there in the sky is water. And God separated the waters from above from the waters beneath. That means there is water below the earth and there is water above the earth. Now, when the Creator flooded the whole earth and killed everything with breath in its body, He released all the water from the firmament, which is the blue sky. People did not believe Noah because up until that time, it had never rained. God watered the earth with the dew that would come up from the ground. I'm not trying to get you to believe in religion. but I'm just stating a fact that all of us one day will stand before that Creator and give account to what we did while we were alive. Look, this is pine cones I picked up that I saved, that I take to the homeless people that lives by the railroad track in the winter so they can burn them to heat up coffee. But you got to realize when the Bible talks about death, it is not talking about your physical body dying. It is talking about your soul being separated for eternity from the Creator who created us. Because when you die, your body turns back into the earth, whether you're cremated or buried. Your soul awaits judgment, and your spirit goes back to the Creator, because it is God's Spirit within us. Because when God breathed life into Adam, man became a living soul. True death, which is the second death, is spiritual death, where you are separated for eternity from your Creator. EagleNick does not want to be separated for eternity from his Creator. Because I love my Creator, I love every creation that God created, that is all of mankind, every man, woman, and child, every animal, every tree, every river, every plant, because God created it all. God created it for us. And in the beginning, God walked with man in the garden. Ate of the forbidden fruit and did not die. Adam disobeyed God. Therefore, they were cast from the Garden of Eden. But Eve was deceived by the devil, by the serpent. But I wasn't trying to get off on religion, because I hope you're not offended by it, because, you know, that's even worse if you're offended by somebody talking about the Creator, because there will come a day when you will stand in front of Jesus and he will say, because it says in the Bible that of him in front of man, that he will be ashamed of you in front of his Father. But look, that's how it is. The Holy Bible says in the last days that men would be lovers of pleasure more than lovers of God, that they would be backbiters, that they would turn on their own parents, that the world would be like it was in Sodom and Gomorrah, with homosexuality running rampant. And you can see it every single day, 24 hours a day on TV and in videos. So it is actually worse than the Bible predicted, because God knew how it was going to be when God spoke this earth into creation. See, God could have spoken man into creation, but he didn't. God took man from the dust of the earth, and then he breathed life into his body, became a living soul. These corrupt public servants who has did EagleNick so dirty and had me arrested for exercising my God-given rights. You know, our rights come from the Constitution, but our rights are inalienable because they were given to us by the Creator. There's that other little gray cat. They're out here running around now. But EagleNick goes up for his arraignment on July the 9th at 9 a.m. in front of Judge Burt Postal in the Superior Court of Whitfield County. And I pray that Judge Burt Postal will be a fair and impartial judge and not let feelings of others influence how he conducts court, that he will see through the witch hunt that it actually is, like President Trump calls his, which it is, that EagleNick was wrongfully arrested all because EagleNick chose to exercise his constitutional rights to stand up for the rights of all of an American citizens. You know, they don't care. The Democrats don't care to stand up the rights for the illegals who they let flood into our country just for votes. If you do not believe me, look at all the states that is controlled by the Democrats, like California, where they let people defecate on the sidewalk, shoot up drugs on the sidewalk, where people gets arrested for violent crimes and they turn them loose without bail. How the Democrats let people burn entire police stations to the ground after the death of George Floyd. Now, EagleNick believes that that was an injustice and that was a travesty when that officer held his knee on Mr. George Floyd's neck for 9+ minutes. Because like I said, EagleNick loves all people. Skin color does not have a thing to do with it, because when our Creator looks at us, he does not see your skin color, he sees your soul. But they let people burn stuff to the ground. They let them loot all them stores, robbing, stealing, and killing. And then our vice president, while she was a state senator, Kamala Harris, she was a member of a bail fund group who helped to bail them people out of jail. And she said, oh, they're just peaceful protests. She don't think they should stop protesting. She thinks they should keep protesting because they was doing everything in their power to try to destroy Donald Trump's presidency, when all they was doing was letting people destroy their states and destroy people's faith in our government ever doing anything for us. They seem to want to do stuff for people who floods over this border, our southern border, illegally. Joe Biden issued an executive order to where they are going to allow 2,500 a day to come across our border illegally every single day, which is over 900,000 people until he gets voted out. And that is on top of the millions that they have let flood into this country during his 3+ years, 3.5 years of his term. That is not counting the millions that has come in that they are not aware of. You know, they know about millions, but there's millions more that they do not know about. If you will look it up and Google it, you will see that they did not make illegal immigrants had to fill out our census in our last census because they did not want Americans to know exactly how many illegal immigrants was in the United States. There's my cat Gray, baby. That is Sheba's brother. I found him and Sheba when they were just little kittens. But they do not want the American people to know exactly how many illegal immigrants is in the United States. The last time I ever seen anything written about it before the liberal media took over and only shows the left's narrative, the Democrats' perspective, it was 22 million illegal immigrants in the United States, and that was over 10 years ago. No, sir, I do not have brain damage, but guess what? I've always loved the Pittsburgh Steelers. I hope you don't keep saying stuff that'll make me dislike you, because I still like the Pittsburgh Steelers. But you can try to steal 15 minutes of fame. But guess who EagleNick's favorite team always was? The Philadelphia Eagles. Because I am EagleNick. My mother is deceased. She died in 2021. Well, I sure do thank you. I didn't realize I had an accent. But I guess I do. But I always liked the Philadelphia Eagles, even though I'm from Georgia. I never really cared for the Atlanta Falcons. You see that? That dude's going to get killed. He rides up and down this road like that on that motorcycle all the time. All it'll take is one of them big dogs to come out that driveway out there. He'll hit it and he'll break his neck. Now, if you watch my YouTube channel, you look, I did a video this morning. I wasn't going to do any more train videos right now, but there was a young lady that was walking up the railroad track, and I told her, I said, hey, there's a train coming. She said, oh, okay. And that train, I wasn't going to record because I was afraid she was going to get killed, and I knew that would be real gory, and I didn't want to record it to offend nobody. Now, see, my internet just cut off again, and I'm not out here anywhere that my internet should be working. So I do believe, sir, it is not a disgusting hovel. It is a home. It may not be fancy like yours, but look at my YouTube channel and you'll see my homeless friend Marty living in tent by the damn railroad tracks, and there's about 2 other tents there. I know of many homeless people living in different homeless encampments in Dalton, Georgia. I've seen videos of Kensington, Philadelphia, where the homeless people live right on the streets, where they're shooting up heroin, shooting up fentanyl, taking the drug that's known as Trank, which is a horse tranquilizer that has them looking like zombies. You can say it looks like a hobble or habble, whatever the hell you said it, but that's all right with me, sir. You don't have to live here. I never asked you for no money so that I could live in a mansion. I never asked nobody else for no money so I can live in a mansion. I thank God that I live in this hovel, as you call it. You see the color of it, that is because my mother liked those colors. And it just has never been painted. I think EagleNick lives in a damn fine house. compared to the poor homeless people living on the street or living in a tent. I would rather live in this damn ditch right down there than in the finest jail in America, or to live anywhere around people with an attitude like yours. The Holy Bible says to judge not, lest ye be judged. You know, you go talking about the way somebody else is living, and there's a thing called karma where it will come back and bite you in the ass. And when it does, don't start crying, because you would just be getting retribution for the pain and suffering that you cause others. EagleNick does not try to cause pain and suffering. EagleNick loves everybody. Now, like I said, Officer Buffoon, driving car number 38, called me by name when I first encountered him after I left my audit from the East Side Post Office. He rode by going to the post office. As I was traveling out Murray Avenue, he rode by going to the post office. He waved at me. After he went to the post office, he came back by, he waved at me, and then he pulled over and waited on the side of the road that I was on, just for the fact that he wanted to see if EagleNick would talk to him. So I rode past him, and I looked back at him, and he was waving at me. So I said, he's waving. I said, that's an open door to me. So I parked my bicycle, and I went up and started auditing him, recording him sitting on the side of the road. And the first thing out of his mouth, I didn't say nothing to him. He said, "How you doing, Mr. Nicholson?" And now, if you seen my audit at the post office with Lieutenant Bishop, when he was talking about I was trespassed, and I said, ain't there supposed to be paperwork associated with that? He said, oh, there'll be a police report. Do you have an ID week? And I said, I don't answer questions and I don't identify. Therefore, they did not have my name until they got it off my open records request and my YouTube channel to illegally obtain a trespass warrant, which is a direct violation of my First Amendment rights, a direct violation of my Fourth Amendment rights, a direct violation of my Eighth Amendment rights, and a direct violation of my 14th Amendment rights. Now, EagleNick is not going to let them violate his Sixth Amendment rights, because the Sixth Amendment says I have a right to face my accusers and compel them to testify in court. Well, I'm glad to see you there, sir. I have many Hispanic neighbors that I love, that I give stuff that I find foodstuffs, candies, sodas, that lives right next door, that I've always given to them. I've got Hispanic subscribers that owns the, I can't remember the name of the restaurant over there. It's right over here by the laundromat that I go over to wash my clothes. EagleNick does not hate anybody. That's what I said. When I said illegal immigrants, I didn't say illegal Mexicans or illegal anybody. The illegals flooding across our southern border are coming from all over the world. There has been damn Chinese operatives that is on damn the terror watch list that they've let come over into our country, because our country is basically owned by China. If you do not believe me, you go to the damn Walmart and I'll kiss your ass if 90% of the shit inside the Walmart ain't from China. And that is even the mandarin oranges. Now, we grow plenty of damn fruit and shit all over the United States. They would not have to have all that shit from China. But you see, our corrupt government ended all the manufacturing jobs. They started that long before the pandemic. But during the pandemic, they shut down all the manufacturing. They shut down the whole damn country because the coronavirus was a trial run of President Barack Obama's executive order that gave the federal government the right to take over the power, the food supply, civilian traffic, basically the whole damn country. And that is exactly what they did under the guise of a health emergency using a man-made virus. You can look it up that Bill Gates in 2017 said that he was afraid that there would be a damn terrorist attack, said it would be real easy to re-engineer the flu virus. Now that is exactly what they did, was re-engineered the flu virus to where people got a mucus pneumonia instead of a liquid pneumonia like the flu normally gives you, to where they can put you on a ventilator and pump that fluid out of your lungs. They knew beforehand, before they started hooking people up to them ventilators and destroying their lungs with them ventilators, that it was going to kill them, because that was a part of the United Nations Agenda 20, that they wanted to have the Earth's population reduced by 15% by the year 2020. You think I'm doing a conspiracy theory here? Look up the United Nations Agenda 20. Google it. Google Barack Obama's executive orders that he signed before he left office. He also signed an executive order that gave the president the right to declare martial law in times of war, peace, and or civil unrest. Now, at any time from the moment Donald John Trump was being inaugurated, he could have enacted Barack Obama's executive order and declared martial law, and that would have been the end of our Constitution. That would have been the end of the federal government. That would have been the end of the state government, the county government, the city government, because martial law is military law, and the head of the military is the president. And like I said before, you might better prepare. I don't know if we'll see it in our lifetime, but it is coming, that executive order will be enacted. We will see it if we live that long. If you cannot see that everything that goes on around you is about control, then you must be blind. Don't drink that Kool-Aid that the Democrats is dishing out, pouring up by the gallon, because it's the same kind of Kool-Aid that the Reverend Jim Jones gave to all them people in Guyana that killed them. It killed them right off the bat. But the Kool-Aid that the Democrats and our federal government in a whole is serving up will kill you. Now, I've said this before too, and this is the truth. The Republicans and the Democrats is both government. The government is one big bird. It has a left wing, the Democrats. It has a right wing that's Republicans. They are both trying to take this country to the same place. They are only trying to get us there a different way. 9/11 was staged. The World Trade Centers had computer operated drones flew into pre-cut holes. The Pentagon was hit by a cruise missile. George Bush knew it was going to happen when they come up to him in that school. It's like he said, "Oh, are we doing it now?" The man who had bought the World Trade Centers had only paid $300 million down and still owed the bulk of it. And he had insurance that insured the trade centers against terrorist attack for $7 billion. So when those towers was destroyed by terrorist attacks, he got paid. He owns the single tower that's still standing now that they built. If you will watch the movie Back to the Future, when Michael J. Fox goes back to the past and comes into the whatever year that was, you will notice that Western Union sign says 9/11, and the timestamp when he comes back to the future to where the Libyans is going to kill Doc, the timestamp says 9/11. And when he goes back the first time, he leaves from the Twin Pines Mall. And when he comes back, it's just the Single Pine Mall. There was a cartoon in the 1960s of Porky Pig where a dog was took out by its owner way out in the country, and the man sets up a picnic, then grabs a ball or a stick and says, "Get it, boy, get it," and throws that ball way off, and that dog takes off running after it, and that man jerks everything up, jumps in his damn car and leaves that dog. That dog ends up going to Porky Pig's farm, and Porky Pig is going to take him to the animal shelter. And that dog starts saying all kind of stuff about the sea. What towers? It's not conspiracy. They've been telling people about it in movies and stuff because they know people don't pay attention. They tell you what's going to happen. Look at how many Trump was going to be president long before Donald Trump was president. It showed that Donald Trump was going to be running against Hillary Clinton long before Donald Trump was running against Hillary Clinton. They cut off my internet there again. No, my wife is dead if you're talking to me about my wife again or somebody else. But like I said, I've got my arraignment for July the 9th at 9 a.m. in the Superior Court of Whitfield County in front of Judge Burt Postal for a Class B misdemeanor charge of criminal trespass, damage of $500 or less, all from exercising my First Amendment rights by recording a 2-minute and 47-second long video at the United States Post Office in downtown Dalton, Georgia, 30720. And I'm praying that Judge Burt Postal will be a fair and impartial judge and will not let the feelings of the postmaster, the Dalton Police Department, or anybody else cause him to be a biased judge. EagleNick was illegally arrested because they obtained my name from my open records request and my YouTube channel to seek a criminal warrant against EagleNick when EagleNick had not committed any crimes. Watch the video with Lieutenant Bishop and you will see I never identified myself. He never called me by name because he did not know my name. Trespass is not verbal. It is a written trespass with your name on it. You cannot be trespassed from public property unless you have committed a crime. Criminal trespass in the state of Georgia is a person who knowingly stays on the property of another. And if they cause damage, state's post office is. Do you see that? This is private property posted, no trespassing, private property. This is what private property, no trespassing, looks like. This is what trespassing means. They only arrested me to try to stop EagleNick Audits from exercising his First Amendment rights, to stop me from exposing the corruption that is going on in the United States Post Office, especially in the whole state of Georgia. You can Google it and you will see that our state senators, Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff, has been on the United States Post Office's ass in Georgia, that Congress has been investigating the United States Postal Service in whole since December of last year, because they are allowing mail carriers to steal people's checks, to steal people's packages, to hold up people's mail, to take people's mail and just dump it in the garbage. EagleNick is real. I'm as real as I can be. EagleNick is real. EagleNick. When I pull out my phone, the police come quick just because I am EagleNick. I am real. I am not AI. I'm not artificially intelligent. I'm just super intelligent. I may have a funny way of talking. I may have a funny accent. Look, I've got feet just like you do. Look, EagleNick's got some gorgeous legs. Look at there, boy. My legs as muscular as can be from riding a bicycle. My arms ain't too muscular, except for my forearms. I got them Popeye forearms. I'm not ranting. I'm sorry. Let me go ahead and say this because I haven't said it. EagleNick is deaf in his left ear. I do not realize sometimes how loud I am talking. I apologize for getting loud. One officer said, "You gotta talk to see yourself talk." Well, hell yeah, I do. I gotta talk loud sometimes to be able to make sure that I'm talking. But I appreciate everyone. I don't have an eagle screech. You know, when I was a kid, they'd always call me Eagle, and they'd go, ah, ah, ah. But that happens to be a crow. I do not know how an eagle sounds. How about this? EagleNick audits. I am EagleNick. Hold on, I will show you my eagle. I'll show you who EagleNick is. Okay then. I'm gonna have to pause this TV. Mute the TV for a minute. Here is EagleNick. You see what that says? That says Army, and it's got an eagle on it. EagleNick audits. I am an army of one. I appreciate you all. See, EagleNick has a bed. I sleep in a bed. I don't sleep in a cave. I don't actually sleep in a nest, but I do call it the Eagle's Nest because this is where I reside. I appreciate you all for watching. I guess I'm going to go ahead and end this for now. If you have not already subscribed, I would really appreciate it if you would. Please be sure to subscribe to my secondary channel, EagleNick Audits 1967. One long word, spelled exactly how this EagleNick Audits is, except it has 1967 at the end of it. I created that channel because I screwed this channel up by deleting videos 3 different times, where I lost 1,800 watch hours and 1.8 million short views. Now, if EagleNick had just been after clicks and views, it's real nice to meet you too, sir. Or ma'am, whichever you may be. I see it says Chris Hernandez. I appreciate you, Chris Hernandez. And I would like to give a shout out to my super amigo, Cesar Escobar, who helped EagleNick get out of jail. When I was arrested for my criminal trespass, damage of $500 or less, EagleNick had a $50 cash bond that he could not make, even though I had $71 on my Cash App card in my property downstairs at the Whitfield County Sheriff's Office jail. They would not take me downstairs to let me make a bond. When I went to first appearance on Friday, April the 19th, the public defender got my bond down from $400 to $50, but it had to be cash, and the state objected and opposed a $50 OR bond to EagleNick Audits. And I know of a homeless gentleman who just a little over a week to 2 weeks ago, a gentleman who is homeless that I eat evening meals with at Providence Ministry, along with other people who told me that he was charged with criminal bond was $1,100, and they let him do an $1,100 OR on recognizance bond, meaning on your name, on your signature, on your word that you will show up for court. Now, they would not let me do a $50 OR bond, yet they let this homeless gentleman do an $1,100 OR bond, all because my arrest and the way I was treated when I went to first appearance to set a bond was retaliatory, because EagleNick was exercising his constitutional rights, and they were acting on the feelings of the postmaster, Constance Long, and the police chief, Cliff Chasen, and the entire Dalton Police Department. I do not have no thoughts on Mumbai, India. I've never been to India. I do not have any comment on Pride Month, except to say that it is a sin and that a person will go to hell and be separated for eternity from the Creator. It is in the Bible. I pray that you all have a super blessed evening. Tomorrow will be the Sabbath evening when it turns dark. If you will notice, tomorrow is the seventh day. The evening and the morning were the first day. So Friday when it's dark till Saturday when it's dark is the Sabbath. Friday night is the Sabbath evening. Saturday is the Sabbath day. I hope to see you all again before then. I will more than likely be doing another live stream tomorrow. Actually, tomorrow, my data will reset on my Spectrum mobile internet service, so I will be able to do some live streams while I am out on my bicycle and not have to just do them here at my house on my internet or down there at Al Rollins Park on the City of Dalton public Wi-Fi. No, I like Dave Chappelle. Have you ever seen the movie Half Baked? I'm the man on the couch. No, sir, I'm from Dalton, Georgia. I love Florida. Hey, brother, you ain't just a lying butt. I am hot. Go look at all that sweat on my forehead. EagleNick, all this. I am EagleNick. I pray that you all have a super blessed day. Sir, I believe you are talking about yourself. And I've done said about you people that says stuff that is disrespectful to other people that might be watching my channel, that I hope my moderators block you from my channel and anyone that makes comments like that. So if a moderator would, I'd appreciate it if you would block that individual from my channel. I done said you can call me an inbred hillbilly. You can call me a son of a bitch. You can even call me by my name. But when you say stuff that is disrespectful or hurtful to anybody else, and what that person said is disrespectful and hurtful to little kids and parents of little kids, EagleNick does not influence stuff like that. EagleNick does not condone stuff like that. And EagleNick does not put up with shit like that. That person was a total shithead and needs to crawl back into the gutter from whence they came. EagleNick audits. I am EagleNick, and I'm out.